Race here for Safety Third Racing. Today we'll be going over the Nighthawk 200 by Emax. Let's start right off the bat here with these 2205 2300 kV motors, spinning some 5045 props and 12 amp ESCs. These are the Emax Nanos. They're burstable to 16. I would have liked to seen some 20 amps out of this, but 12 will be okay for us today. In front you have a CMOS camera, adjustable to 30 degrees. And in the back here you have a 600 milliamp watt transmitter. I'd like to have seen 200 out of this, but 600 will have to do. And in the back here they also have a nice little LED bar. If we flip this guy over, you'll notice that it has some nice little plastic feet. These protect the motors, and for landing they're pretty solid. They're not 3D printed, they're pretty durable. And on top here you have the hilariously long battery strap. I'm not sure what they were trying to do with this. The battery fits in here. I've gone all the way up to 1800 milliamp hour with no issue fitting it in here. Alright, let's dive inside. And here we have the underpinnings of the Nighthawk 200. Right in front here you'll notice the Skyline 32 flight controller. This one has the optional OSD. You really don't need this. I liked having the OSD on mine, so I went with this option. You also have the motor pins right in the front here. I ended up taking these motor wires between the flight controller and the PDB. They fit there pretty nicely, and it keeps them out of the way when I'm flying. The D4R I tucked behind the flight controller here with a piece of double-sided sticky tape. I really only need 3 pins from this flight controller, so I ended up removing the rest here, and it just tucks in nicely. You'll notice the 600 milliwatt VTX in the back. The pins to change that are underneath here, and you can also unplug the VTX if you want to go line of sight. Up at the front we have the buzzer. I just used some double-sided Velcro on this. Keeps it in place nicely. It's kind of tough because it's round, but it seemed to do the trick. And up in front here you have your CMOS camera. I didn't bother taking that out of the pod. It's just a basic CMOS camera, nothing to see there. As far as the PDB, it's your pretty standard affair. It has 12 and 5 volt out the one side, and the other side has 5 volt for the LED, and here you can see there's a little LED switch to turn it off and on. Alright, let's talk about PID tuning with the Nighthawk 200. First things first, one-shot 125. I found that those little Emax ESCs really liked it off. When I had the one-shot 125 turned on, they really had a hard time arming, disarming, and sometimes it would even just arm without me flipping the switch, which is kind of scary. So I would definitely say leave that off unless you flash those ESCs again. Ppm mode here, nothing new. You'll notice a 180 degree on the roll on the flight controller. That's just me flipping the flight controller upside down. You really don't have to do that unless that's in your build. Let's see what else we have here. LED strip for that little 4 LED strip in the back. PID tuning. Multi-way rewrite is what I went for here. The P was at 7.4. A little bit high. I'm curious what it's going to fly like. The I was at 50 and the D was at 45. I found that the rates I liked were in the 0.2 range, and for receiver RC rate I went right to 1.0. Finally here for the LED strip, you'll notice I made it nice and simple. 1, 2, 3, 4 with wire ordering mode, and then these are indicators, and these little blue ones here are for arm state. Nothing too fancy. I will say that I did turn off the magnetometer on this board. I found it caused a little bit of issue with just keeping the direction correct. It's pretty common for when I do my builds here. Alright, let's go on to our first flight test.